Hello guys, how are you doing all? Welcome to my YouTube channel. And if you are new here, if you are new to my YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so you won't miss any upcoming videos on this channel. So my name is Sadapasi and I make random horror videos. So subscribe my channel and I can guarantee you that you will not regret this decision. Alright, so by subscribing, join me on this journey. So let's go for today's video. The Whispering Grove. The forest loomed like a wall of shadow against the fading twilight. Its gnarled trees clawing at the sky. Ethan adjusted the straps of his backpack, his breath visible in the crisp October air. The five of them stood at the edge of the trailhead, their faces illuminated by the weak glow of their phone screens. The sign before them was weathered, its letters barely legible. Whispering Grove, no entry after dusk. Someone had carved a crude spiral beneath the words, deep enough to expose the raw wood underneath. Are we really doing this? Mia asked, her voice tight. She tugged at her beanie, her dark eyes darting toward the trees. You know what they say about this place? It's just a bunch of ghost stories. Lucas scoffed, though his grin didn't reach his eyes. He hoisted his flashlight, its beam slicing through the gathering fog. Old wives' tales to keep kids out of the woods, right, Ethan? Ethan forced a nod, but his gut churned. The Whispering Grove isn't just a local legend, it was a wound in the town's history. People had vanished here, hikers, hunters, even a whole family back in the 70s. The official reports blamed disorientation or wild animals, but the whispers in town told a different story. Voices in the trees, shadows that moved against the wind, something alive in the grove, older than the town itself. Come on, it's just a camping trip, Sarah said, her voice bright but brittle. She clung to Jack's arm, her boyfriend's bulk a shield against the dark. We stick together, we will be fine. Jack grunted, his jaw set. Let's just get moving, it's getting cold. Ethan glanced at the group, their faces a mix of bravado and unease. They had planned this trip as a last hurrah before college scattered them across the country. A dare to provide they weren't afraid of the stories they had grown up with. Now, standing at the grove's edge, the idea felt less like a thrill and more like a mistake. The trail was narrow, overgrown with roots that snaked across the path like veins. The air grew heavier as they ventured deeper, the scent of damp earth mingling with something sharper, like rust or blood. The trees pressed, pressed closer, their branches interlocking overhead, blotting out the stars. Ethel's flashlight flickered, and he cursed under his breath, smacking it against his palm. Anyone, anyone else hear that? Mia whispered, freezing mid-step. The group stopped, their breaths loud in the sudden silence. Ethan strained his ears, hearing nothing but the rustle of leaves. Then it came, a low, sibilant sound, like a chorus of whispers weaving through the trees. It wasn't words, not exactly, but it carried a cadence, a rhythm that made his skin prickle. It's just the wind, Lucas said, but his voice crackled. He swung his flashlight wildly, its beam catching glimpses of twisted bark and empty air. Let's keep going, Ethan said, forcing calm into his words. The clearing's not far. They pushed on, the whispers fading but never quite gone. The trail opened into a small clearing ringed by trees so tall they seemed to lean inward, watching. The ground was bare, covered in a carpet of dead leaves that crunched underfoot. In the center stood a single stone, waist high, its surface etched with spirals like the one on the sign. Ethan's flashlight lingered on it, the carvings seeming to shift in the light. This is it? Sarah asked, her voice small, it's creepy. Let's set up camp and get a fire going, Jake said, dropping his pack. I'm not sleeping next to that rock though. They worked quickly, pitching tents and gathering kindling. The whispers had stopped, but the silence was worse, thick, oppressive, like the grove was holding its breath. Ethan tried to focus on the fire, coaxing flames from the damp wood, but his eyes kept drifting to the stone. It didn't belong here, it felt wrong, like a tooth in a skull that wasn't its own. Guys, check this out, Lucas called. Standing by the stone, he held up his phone, its screen glowing, no signal. But my compass app is going nuts, it's spinning like crazy. Probably just magnetic interference, Ethan said, but the words felt hollow. He glanced at Mia, who was staring at the stone, her face pale. It's not just the compass, she said softly. Look at the ground. Ethan followed her gaze. The leaves around the stone were arranged in faint, concentric spirals as if they had been swept into place by an unseen hand. He stepped closer, his boots sinking into the soft earth. The air here was cooler, sharp against his lungs. Let's not mess with it, he said, backing away. We are here to camp, not play archaeologist. The fire finally caught, its light pushing back the dark. They sat in a tight circle, passing a flask of cheap whiskey and trying to laugh off the unease. Lucas told a ghost story, his voice loud to fill the silence, but no one joined in. The grove seemed to swallow their words, leaving only the crackle of the fire and the distant rustle of leaves. Ethan woke in the night, his tent suffocatingly still. His sleeping bag was damp with sweat, his heart pounding from a dream he couldn't remember. He listened, expecting the soft snore of his friends, but heard nothing, not even the wind. He unzipped his tent and stepped outside, the cold biting his skin. The fire was dead, its embers glowing faintly. The clearing was empty, the tents standing like silent sentinels. He called out softly, "Guys!" His voice fell flat, absorbed by the trees. The stone loomed in the center, its spirals glinting in the moonlight. He took a step forward, it then stopped. The whispers were back, louder now, curling around him like smoke. Ethan, he spun, his flashlight beam darting across the clearing. The voice had been Mia's, but it came from the trees, not the tents. He called her name, his throat tight, no answer. He checked the tents one by one, finding them empty. Their sleeping bags untouched. Panic clawed at his chest. They couldn't have all left. Not without their gear, not in the dark. The whispers grew, a cacophony of voices overlapping, none of them clear. Ethan's flashlight flickered again, its beam weakening. He stumbled toward the trail, desperate to retrace their steps, but the path was gone. The trees had closed in, their roots tangling the ground where the trail had been. He turned back to the clearing, his breath hitching. The stone was closer now, though it hadn't moved. "Stop it," he muttered, squeezing his eyes shut. "This isn't real." But the whispers didn't stop. They burrowed into his skull, pulling at memories he didn't want to face. His father's funeral, the smell of hospital antiseptic, the sound of his mother's sobs. He opened his eyes, and the clearing was different. The tents were gone, replaced by shadows that writhed at the edge of his vision. The stone pulsed, its spirals glowing faintly like veins filled with light. "Bia!" he shouted, his voice breaking. "Lucas, where are you?" A figure stepped from the trees, its movements jerky like a puppet on fraying strings. It was Lucas, but not Lucas. His eyes were empty, his mouth stretched in a smile too wide for his face. "You shouldn't have come," he said, his voice laid with others, a chorus of whispers. "The grove is hungry." Ethan staggered back, his flashlight falling to the ground. The beam caught Lucas' feet, revealing roots coiled around his ankles. Burrowing, burrowing into his skin, Ethan screamed, scrambling toward the stone, though he didn't know why. It was the only thing solid, the only thing real in this nightmare. He touched the stone, and the world fractured. Images flooded his mind, people kneeling before the stone, their faces twisted in ecstasy and terror, blood soaking the earth, trees growing from corpses, their branches heavy with strange fruit. The grove wasn't a place, it was alive, ancient, that fed on fear and flesh. It had taken his friends, and now it wanted him. Ethan pulled his hand away, gasping. The clearing was quiet again. The whispers gone. Lucas' body lay crumpled at the tree line, his eyes staring blankly at the sky. Ethan ran to him, shaking him, but he was cold, his skin grey. The roots were gone, but the marks remained, sprawling up his legs like tattoos. I'm sorry, Ethan whispered, tears burning his eyes. He stood, his legs trembling, and turned to the stone. It was just a rock now. Its spirals dull, but he knew it wasn't over. The grove wouldn't let him leave. He walked, not knowing where, the trees parting as if guiding him. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time didn't work right here. He stumbled into another clearing, smaller, with a different stone. This one was cracked, its surface stained black. Mia sat beside it, her knees drawn to her chest. Mia! Ethan ran to her, dropping to his knees. Are you okay? She looked up, her eyes hollow. It showed me things, she said, her voice barely a whisper. It knows us, Ethan, it knows everything. We have to get out, he said, pulling her to her feet. Where are the others? She shook her head, tears streaming down her face. Gone, it took them. It's always taking. They ran hand in hand, the trees closing in behind them. The whispers returned, louder, angrier, chanting words Ethan couldn't understand. Mia stumbled, her grip loosening. He turned to pull her up, but she was gone, her scream echoing through the grove. Ethan kept running. Ethan kept running. His lungs burning until he collapsed at the trailhead. The sign was there, its spiral mocking him. He crawled to the road, expecting the grove to drag him back. But it didn't. The forest was silent, its hunger sated for now. He hitchhiked back to town, his story spilling out in fragments to a trucker who didn't believe him. The police searched the grove but found nothing. No tents, no bodies, no stone. The townsfolk avoided his eyes, their silence heavier than the whispers. Ethan left the next day, vowing never to return. It means that Ethan left and He promised that he would never return, whatever the circumstances are. But the grove followed him in his dreams. He saw the stone, its spirals pulsing. He heard the whispers calling his name. He felt the roots coiling around his heart, pulling him back. He knew deep down that the grove wasn't let go. It had marked him, claimed him, and it was only a matter of time before he returned to feed its hunger. The whispering grove stood silent, waiting for its next guest. So, this was the whole story for today. I know this is a long one, but believe me, this is a very interesting story because if you guys listen to this story till the end, you guys will get to know a very deep message. Alright, so this is the end of the video. I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.